I'm blessed, Dan, that I didn't come up through another video business, that I could position myself as a disruptor.
You are listening to the Artist King Podcast. I am your host, DTM of DeltaTangoMike.com. The Artist King Podcast features artists, entrepreneurs, and business coaches who share their knowledge, expertise, and resources to provide insight into the ways we can find our own personal success with our creative talents. Les is a professional video content producer, creative entrepreneur, utilizing cutting-edge technology to create, produce, and deliver video content to his clients' customers. With over 11 years of content marketing expertise under his belt, Les is one of the few people who have added to my video knowledge. Hello, Les. How are you doing today?
Dan, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on your program.
Bro, I've seen, we've known each other for a few years now. I think it was in the beginning of the Facebook Live days. Like when Facebook went with the Facebook Live from mobile. I think that, to me, that was the first time I realized you can go live on Facebook. And I joined a bunch of groups that were doing streaming. And you were, that's where I saw you and how hardcore you were with your camera work. I seen you grow, bro. I seen you grow. Looking at you right now, next few podcasts you're gonna see me take some cues from you and add them to my.
Oh, Guy, you just inspired me. You're right. It was the advent of the access that any creator had the ability to broadcast to a wide audience online. Mm-hmm. That's when we saw opportunity, and you and I both have not stopped. And you're such an inspiration. Your creativity, your attitude, just everything that you're throwing into your own personal brand has been an inspiration for me over the years. So thanks for having me, Dan, and I appreciate our connection and our friendship.
Bro, thank you for those kind words. And yes, man, that's it. That's where we connected and we stayed in touch since, because it's like a passion. It just ignited. The access ignited a passion that is still ongoing today and is really awesome to see. So for those out there who are listening to us right now and watching this video, please tell us your name, where you're from, and what do you do?
You mean me?
Yes, you, Les. He's like, okay, I'm waiting for those people who are listening right now. You're so crazy.
That's so funny. I thought you were giving a cue for people to comment. So that's pretty funny, Dan. I like that. So
you're right. I need to reword my questions. So go ahead.
We're gonna take that again from the top in 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, I'm Les Fultz, video producer here at Valer Studios, and special thanks to Dan for having me on the program. And but I'm a video producer, so I typically take on all those important elements that it takes to bring a creative vision to life. So often our clients call us and we look at various video projects. Mostly we do a lot of corporate content, a lot of live broadcasting, but basically I take on mostly the producer role, and I also do direct content, and I wear all the other hats. Running a small business, you're going to have your hand in every little aspect. But we've got an amazing team here in our business here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm just totally blessed to be in this creative world, and glad to share some insight with you today.
Awesome. Yes. And when you were saying, you wear many hats, that's how we all start. And I want you to tell us a little bit of when you started to play around with video. What was going through your mind that you saw a video camera and you connected the dots and said, let's try something out?
Well, I used to own a cleaning business, and I wanted to get out of the carpet cleaning business. I was more passionate about marketing and telling stories and understanding the path digitally of how customers are acquired. So how to publish content, attract your ideal customer, and have them convert into sales. So I've been in that scientific way of using digital content since 2009. So it's been a long time. But I started doing web videos in 2010, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was just the coolest way that I no longer had to work as hard as people have had to in the past to, work on PR and get on the news or whatever. And so I had this dream and aspiration that I could help people with digital marketing. And so I transitioned out of that cleaning business, and I stumbled quite a bit. As an entrepreneur, you take gambles, you take risks. You don't always have, you have a good plan. You have a really solid plan, but until you implement that plan, you don't know where those cards are exactly going to fall. Until you start, until you push yourself out there, you don't know if this is going to be a success or a complete disaster. Well, transitioning from the floor cleaner to let me build your website, that's a hard shift. Okay. So my entire audience had my network just did not connect the dots. And so that I struggled quite a bit. But when I found the answer. And when I found this, it was simply, I had a very inexpensive camera. I had a $150 point and shoot camera. And I began publishing photos and short videos on social media. And the reaction for the client that I serve was beyond astronomical. I mean, tens of thousands of people were seeing my content. And so I had that wake up moment. I was no longer, I didn't have to confuse myself with what my gifts were. And so that was kind of a defining moment. And there was a point where I literally had $1 to my name, $1 in my pocket, totally broke, and a point and shoot camera. You want to talk about a pivotal moment in someone's life. What can you do with that camera? And now I'm just, fast forward almost 8 years later, I am incredibly blessed with amazing global clients, Fox News, ABC News, Kroger, big companies. And also, I compliment them a lot, but there's two people that work for me that are an absolute blessing in the organization, that none of this would be possible without their contributions. And so I try to let them know that they are very much part of what this is. And so I'm blessed in that capacity. But to go from, and that's been a really difficult journey, and I'm still learning today. There's still things that come up, obstacles in our foreground that we have to overcome. It's not a straight path, but I mean, enter pandemic, the ability to shift. Luckily, we are of an entrepreneurial mindset, and I give as much freedom to my team as I try to allow myself, that they have an opinion. Their opinion matters, and we try to shift where our clients need us the most. And so we have that entrepreneurial mindset that guide our decisions, and that will never change. So I'm blessed, Dan, that I didn't come up through another video business, that I could position myself as a disruptor. When I run billboards in I-75 and they say, who is this guy? Or they see content on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever, what I enjoy is like saying, how can I stay ahead? We have to constantly be in a status of innovating, and that's a great use of technology. And, everybody's got cameras. Everybody has access. It's what you do and how you do it that makes you so different. And so we try to make sure there's a good contrast between that. Like, we just don't want to associate that we're just the camera person. We like to think that we are a partner, a creative partner that takes complex video projects and simplifies them, all while being great advocates and helping our clients' vision come to life. And so that all came from struggle in not knowing what the future held, but through the discovery of being an entrepreneur has molded this beautiful business and opportunity, that I'm so thankful for. And I'm thankful that I went through so many challenges. I thank these challenges when they show up. I respect challenges because it's the only way that we get better. It's the only way that we improve. It's the only way that we better serve our clients, Yeah. So it's been a fun journey, and I'm just so blessed to have folks like you in my network who are such an inspiration.
Nice. So there's a few things you said in there that I'm interested in finding out more. And let's not forget the pandemic that really shifted the way business is done across the world, and it shifted everything online. And if you weren't ready, it was a hard switch over, right? That's crazy. So we're gonna get into that, but also, you mentioned that $150 camera, wanting to focus on storytelling. That then turned into a disruptive way of doing business through normal social media channels, because the internet has been constantly elevating how we tell stories, how we find our customers, how we find our clients. Yet the tools also keep adjusting and changing. It's gone from just having an online presence and having people find you, send you an email, communicating with you, to then seeing proof of your work, to then engaging with content that now, blogging, then video and podcasts. It's like there's no end to what's the next thing that's gonna be. What's the next thing that's gonna be? Next thing's gonna be. So we're gonna touch on a lot of these things of what you said, but let's go back to that beginning. When you started using your camera for your business, and then other people saw the value of it, did you think to yourself, I'm shifting my business away from what I was doing and going hard in this video thing? And if you did, what did you do to prepare?
So in true entrepreneurial spirit, I made this shift, right? And the response was because I wasn't succeeding in the, here I'm a web consultant, I'm a WordPress guy, I just wasn't succeeding. So in that rebrand is what I called it, that I still didn't have all the answers, but I had feedback from my clients, and they said, Les, the video. So they were just telling me that's what people are talking about. Talking about the video. So I said, that has to be I see the results from the content that I was publishing. I saw the power of the reaction, and then I got the feedback from my clients. So that was the signaling point that focus your energy in this particular area. Now, when I rebranded and I launched and I said, I got this studio and I'm going to do live, and boy, oh boy, I stepped into an industry that I had very little knowledge about, especially how to organize a video production business. And so that's where I bring up the word disruptor, because I didn't have the playbook. I wrote my own playbook, including my own pricing, my own approach, my own style. And I'm so blessed for that, because had I not done that, then I'd be in the same train as all the other AV companies out there. So we did our best to be different. And I always focused on the benefit of the client. How can I best serve my client? How can I best represent them? I always say this line, and Max is in the control room. He and Ellen might be listening too, but they hear me say this a lot, that we all need profit to survive in business. We all need sales and growth, revenue growth. But really, we do think about the impact of the work that we can have on behalf of the client, and how does our style, our technology, or our storytelling help to represent the client in the best possible light. Whether that's a CEO doing an address on Zoom, or it's a multi-camera, panel discussion with a high-profile entity that cannot have any problems. So we think about the impact of every decision we make. I kid you not. Max, you could probably show the wide shot in the studio right now, but we're preparing for a large panel discussion. And we're preparing for a large panel discussion in here. So right now we are going to a big technical layout in the studio. We are gonna, there's 2 scenes. So I'm sitting in one scene, there's gonna be another scene over here. And so we're gonna have 4 cameras. We're gonna have teleprompter. We're gonna have, all these different things going on. So we have a lot of commitment to not only the content, but also all the technical things that go into a project like this. So we're always thinking client first. We are always thinking, how can the client best receive the benefit from us? And so that's always been a driver. And that has been what's really set us apart, because I'm sure you say this all, that you're not buying from the brand on the logo. You are buying from the people that are associated with it. You are buying experience that you receive from the folks. So if anybody's watching that's starting a business, think about that. Think about how you can have the greatest impact to solve problems, often very complex ones, for your clients. And that will be a successful way to think about whatever business you're in, to help you to continue to grow.
And were those answers and those ideas immediately evident to you, or did you have to do trial and error, customer discovery?
Trust me. Going from $150 camera to a cutting edge multi-camera broadcast control room and internet broadcast studio, there's a lot of trial and error along the way. It's now been 8 years. So since that transition, working on 8 years. So it'll be 8 years in June. And so, yes, there is a lot of trial and error. A lot of times I didn't know exactly what part of the industry I should be in, what type of videos, what to charge. I was doing a rebrand amongst a feeling of necessity. I didn't rebrand because I had a board of directors advising me to do that, or consultants.
Right.
Just whatever I was doing wasn't working. So out of the urgency, I rebirthed myself into a video production world. And so, yes, lots of trial and error. In fact, my only mentor was one of my great friends from high school, Jonathan Chia, in Los Angeles. And every time I published a video, I knew that I would get a text, a call, or a message from Jonathan saying, "You idiot. Why did you do it this way? Don't do it like that. Your camera needs to be better. You need to be tighter on the subject. Run 2 cameras. No, the audio sucks, man. You gotta."
Oh my God.
So constantly, I almost had some anxiety about publishing, because I knew John would have some way to comment. So versus, instead of disregarding his critique, which was oftentimes hard to swallow, I accepted the criticism. And, there may have been some words that he didn't hear from me, but that's okay, because it helped me to improve the product. And I learned Premiere Pro because one of my great friends, he happens to be a phenomenal Broadway star, just finished touring with Andrew Lloyd Webber's 50th anniversary tour of Jesus Christ Superstar as Jesus.
Okay.
He was also Spider-Man on Broadway, and he's also toured with Rent around the country. Just a amazing, talented man, Aaron Labade. I love him to death. But he came to Cincinnati, and this is the day that I had the $1 in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to shoot a music video. So we did this thing at the Incline Public House, and I had 3 cameras with me, and they all were overshot. They had bad exposure on all of them. But what did I have? I had Aaron, his music, and I had 3 awful cameras. So I dumped all of that into Premiere, and I said, well, I was so upset that I had damaged footage, but I managed to tweak that to turn it into a creative piece, even with an overexposed camera on 2 cameras and the white balance off on the other. That's how I learned Premiere Pro. So self-taught, challenge with $1 in my pocket. I got to, output, and I outputted a video. I went through that struggle of getting that awful camera footage into something beautiful.
Right.
And at the time, I thought it was, but I always think of those little milestone moments throughout the career. And then you're right. If you're ready to talk about pandemic, I can tell you about that transition and what it means for us now and in the future.
Okay. So before we touch on pandemic, let's touch on mentorship. You mentioned mentor. You mentioned advice from a friend. How important is it to have the feedback of others who are going to be honest with you and help you steer you in the direction that you say you want to go, as I imagine?
I have a very tight circle of people close to me that every major decision, every major obstacle that I'm faced with, and this could be serious. This could be involving someone's livelihood. This could be involving revenue that could either mean that we're continuing in business or we're a failure. It could be, very serious decisions. And so my advice is always have support. Always have people that you can bounce things off of to get different, varied opinions, and we're a small team here. And so I don't have a executive board to go down the hall and get to make a business decision. So I try not to interject too much either negative or decision making that would affect the people that work for me. But sometimes I open up the floor because I value how they feel when they come to work. And so I do this all the time. We get getting feedback and advice from people that are close to you is a very good thing to do. I have great friends that have been in business many years. I have engineers. I have PhDs. I have people that, I don't mind. I have clients. I ask feedback from the clients. I get, would you be open to this? Would this make sense for you? Before I make a major, because when I make a decision around here, it often involves $10,000 to $30,000. It's a major, it's an investment. It's an outlay of cost, and it's something. It may be that we're taking on some amount of debt or something like that. And so it's a major decision to consider what we're doing, because this business is not for the lighthearted. There's a lot of things you got to do. To constantly chasing project work, and then every bit of camera equipment and stuff in here is very expensive. So there's a major outlay of cost, and the bills keep rolling. So without solid group, and Dan Flores has also mentored to me during some difficult times. So. So yes, mentorship is key, and having a good circle, a good tribe is also very valuable as you grow your business.
Nice. There you go. You didn't have to mention me, but yes, that's it. That happens. That you build friendships, relationships, teams, and so I tell artists all the time, man, you got to build a team. Even you're at a level where you have a team that you employ, and most artists, it takes a long time before they get to that point. But just having someone to bounce off ideas, someone to share a piece of your drawings or your artwork, and check on the progress, to give you feedback. Maybe they see something that you don't see, and because all of these bits and pieces add up later. And sometimes later it's too late to turn around and try to fix some things. sometimes the later is too far to then be able to make those adjustments without losing of time and resources. So yeah, man, I see it. I see it. So let's talk about the pandemic. I know that in my experience, bro, knowing you, knowing a few people online, Bernard Fields, right? It's like just by watching others, I was able to learn on the go, especially because Bernard Fields was sharing like how he did something. You know, how did you use OBS? How did you share your screen? I'm like, I want to know. I want to know. And then I took on a couple of apprenticeships. You know, I'm an old guy, and I'm like, you know what? I'll dedicate some time to understand how to work in a studio, video production place. And then you came by to Atlanta, and we spent a couple of days. And bro, I was paying attention to every move you were making. We were in. We went to hang out in the warehouse.
2018.
2018, yeah. We went to hang out at a warehouse where some of my artwork I had was being put together as part of a big art installment, and we went to hang out to look at it. We was taking pictures, and I said, "Oh, there's a lot of artists in here." I said, "Maybe you can record," and you said, "Hold on." You have to think about lighting and audio. It's not just a camera. You can't just throw a camera out and think it's gonna work. And I was like, oh snap! You know, it started to cement the seriousness of how you work, and if you wanna have professional looking finished product, then you have to pre-plan, which is where now I understand why people say pre-production, production, and post-production. It's like which is why I like live streaming, because it's just on the go, bro, okay?
I love live streaming. I think it's great because this is it, and you're moving on,
That's right. Yeah, it's like peace out, thank you everybody. Turn it off and like, ooh, I can relax now. But it's so in any case, that all of that, it just kind of prepared me for when the world shut us in. And then all we had was these internet connections, these devices to connect and build with each other. And listen, it's been a lot of heartache and pain in society because of the shutdowns and the pandemic. But as far as my business, it never stopped. It never slowed down. I was able to go harder with video, go harder with live streaming, and continue to find my customers and clients to keep working. And so tell me about your experience, and what was that like when after you came and hang out? And I'm gonna figure out how to send you some biscuits from Flying Biscuit. We're gonna figure that out. Okay, I have it on my list to figure out. I know people ship food across the country.
Oh my God!
So
well, we'll talk about my high cholesterol on another show. Okay? So amazing. I remember clients being in my studio, and of course, they're improv folks, so they're a little bit funny. Mm-hmm. And he goes, "Well, guess that's it. The mayor just shut down the city." Mm-hmm. And so this was February of 2020, and I'll try to condense this as much as I can. But I had $100,000 worth of book business for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I said, I have my baseline expenses covered for the entire year. Mm-hmm. Well, on that day, I guess my email exploded and I lost all that money. And I stood in my studio, and which is not what this place is today. Mm-hmm. And I said, God, this is all your stuff anyways, all your money, all your stuff. Do with it as you please. I'm good. I'm cool. I'm cool. Because that feeling of security, I've lost the security, and then a great sense of calm came over me. And so I'm going to be honest. All this equipment I own, I didn't have a webcam, and you could not buy a webcam.
No.
So,
No. Yeah.
so I borrowed a webcam from a friend, and I was broadcasting from my mother's basement. Don't get me started. But anyways, I was doing live streams in my mother's basement. Okay, so 2 months later, I had double the amount of business I ever had. I broadcast messages that said, folks, you must communicate with your customers during this time. I have tools and availability to help you speed up your communications. And all of a sudden, I started getting some very prominent folks, some referrals, some big folks coming in here. And then, due to the pandemic, the local broadcast CET channel was down. You could not. They were not accepting guests. So ABC News sent me an email, and I thought it was a joke. You know, I thought this is someone trying to scam my bank account. Nope.
Yeah.
It was ABC News, and they needed to get someone on This Week with George Stephanopoulos. We're just calling to check these capabilities at your studio. I said, well, I have cameras, I have a crew, I have sound, and I have the internet.
Right.
How are we going to do it?
Right.
You know, and Skype it was. We figured we're going to get Skype. We're going to bring this guest in. We're going to put her in front of a television. They said, do you have a television? I said, yes, I have a television. Put her right in front of the television. Okay. We put her right in front of the television. Throw the graphic up. Boom.
Yes.
Now, the image was shot on a red camera sent out to ABC via Skype with gaff tape on my laptop. Like, you want to talk about the little... Okay. And I didn't even, they're like, do you have IFB? I'm Googling. What is IFB? IFB.
Yes.
Oh, that's IFB. Okay. So that was in 2020. We got through that. The audio was a little cooked, but we did get the signal out. So from knowing nothing into that, it was a monumental shift. And I said, if I just did national television on a laptop, how can I serve clients in that way? And so that became, and then Memorial Day weekend, this was May, I was putting a control surface, and I spent money. I don't know where the hell I was getting the money, but I got the money, and I'm building a control room. All of a sudden I'm building control room version 1, and so fast forward many, many projects later, and many, many live broadcast moments, people finally, I was like communicating years ago. I said, I would like Mr. Restaurant Owner, can you just imagine if you could live stream your pastries and your chef making your pastries? Can you imagine the power of that? What that would look like? He thought I was nuts. Now fast forward to pandemic. Now everybody was forced in front of a camera, whether they liked it or not. Zoom this, Zoom that, internet this. And so now people finally see the application. And so it's a great time. And of course, now we're back to a lot more in-person events. But folks that have been able to figure this out, during that time, a lot of AV companies did not deliver the correct approach. And so companies spent $100,000, $150,000, $50,000, $30,000 on projects that did not net the proper impact. And so we focus on the client, not the money. Focus on the result of the content. That is the first priority. We had great impact. And so our clients began to see the value of what we did, and we were affordably priced. And so we had great price point, but we also thought about the results. It was about creating the engagement, getting feedback, and providing an end-to-end solution from camera to the web to the end user. And what can we learn as a result of this communication? I'm not saying Zoom. I'm saying, how can we create a piece of content or an experience that the person can get real-time feedback and grow their business or learn more about their product or learn more about their customers? You can't do that. You can't achieve those results at a real-time event in the way that you can with digital. So folks that partnered with the right people, still incorporate virtual live content with the right provider. But many have lost faith in this situation because they had the wrong provider. But the access that people have now, and no shortage, like you said, no shortage of options. My advice is not to chase shiny objects. Think about the simplest way that you can communicate and do it, have a partner that help you build those elements. But think about the simplest way that people can have access to the content and that you can publish the content. And that's when you're going to have greatest success. If you're concerned about bells and whistles, you're going to be concerned. You're going to be consumed with bells and whistles, and all it's going to be is a distraction from the actual result. And so I try to tell people that all the time. But yeah, the pandemic has opened up so much opportunity for creators like you and I to connect, engage, learn, and use innovative technology to serve our clients.
Yes.
So I always like to tell people we're using technology. We're in technology. This is a technology. Yes, we're video, but we are also implementing technology.
Yes. And everything you just described, there was a word in there that I think is the definition of that word, is the engagement. Because the storytelling, the connecting, the serving your customer, is in helping your client connect with their client so that your client benefits from that relationship and makes money for their business. You focused on what is it that you can do to keep it all engaging, get the engagement going. And when the pandemic hit, if you were stuck on, like you said, live events, in-person things, or big production values, but you could not get the connection going to engage with your audience in real time, then that was a loss right there.
Yep. And so we use tools to get that feedback, the live chat, or it's how you, generate leads or attract people before your broadcast. And so get some actionable data. If people come and sit in a seat, can you really reach out and talk to that person? Do they feel like they are participating? Imagine if there were 5,000 people watching you and I right now, which there will be because we're popular. But when we give them an option to talk to us or feel like they are a part of it, that's the real magic. Because when you feel like every viewer can participate or is in the room with you or, has some level of engagement, that real time, you can't make that stuff up. You can't do a big thing in an arena. You don't know Bill or Sally or Mary Beth or little Johnny over there. You don't know what they're thinking or what they're saying. And do they feel like they're on stage with you? And you can do that with virtual stuff. You can make people feel like they're the only one.
Yes. Wow. So lots of good lessons in here. Lots of good lessons. I just feel that it is sometimes as a creative person, and you may find this with different businesses you deal with, and you said it earlier. You said you were forced, whether you like to be in front of the camera or not, you were forced to it. And I like to tell artists, like, listen, you have to tell your story. You can't just ask people to accept you because you can draw something. I mean, there's a ton of people who can draw something. There's a ton of people who can draw Mickey Mouse. But can you explain what's going on in your creative process? Can you explain what we're looking at? Can you explain it in a way that is engaging and draws the other person into a conversation? And I think that's what is evident in social media today, especially after the pandemic or whatever we are now. I don't know where we are now, but is that you have to be able to talk it through, share. And one of the main reasons on why I live stream is because I have two parts of it. One part is to engage with the emerging artists so they can see how a professional does things, whether it has to do art or talking about the business of art. And the second part is for the art. This is for the art directors, for the creative directors, for those out there looking for, I need an artist who can do this, who can do that, and understands how to talk and understands how to finish a project, understands the pipeline. And I'm there streaming the whole thing. I'm like, oh, well, there's our guy right there.
That's nice.
Yeah, like there's that guy. You got to be ready to add more to what you're offering, whether it's a service, a good, or it has to engage. It has to be known, and the internet is the tool where everything that you're about, you can put it out there in the internet so that the internet does the talking for you.
I'm always a fan of your live broadcasts. You know, I cannot draw. I am horrible at drawing, but you are an inspiration. Like when I do stick figures or squares or circles, it's just total chicken scratch. Microsoft Paint is my best friend.
Right.
It makes the perfect square. I can just click and drag and make that square, make that circle. And But anyways, I love watching your broadcasts, your energy and enthusiasm. So you're right. Just getting people to connect with you. I like I'm saying, I just advised a client the other day. I said, look, people aren't buying your product because you put a label on it. People are buying your product because of how you present yourself to them. You know, people buy from people. They don't buy from the label. They buy from people. Who stands behind this? What am I receiving? What are you contributing to this product? And they want to know the people that stand behind it, you know? And so unless you're, you know, a big box retailer and you're like laundry detergent or something, but you know, but people connect with you and learn about your business. So video, live content, doing this stuff, you finally have access to attracting your customer, engaging, communicating with your customer in a whole new creative way that leaves an impression. You know, this content leaves an impression.
Nice.
You know, people know who you are. DTM,
right?
Art King, Art is Life, all this stuff. You brand that, and so you do such a great job of that.
I try, you know, and I learned from watching you when you were saying less is more. I was like, oh my gosh, like you that's some nice wordplay right there.
You get more with less, except you can't be the on-screen talent and grow a business like a video business. Like I can't just sit and do videos like, you know, when you're trying to build this media business, I have to be out selling. So
that's right.
But I'm getting to a point where Les might come back to in front of camera, and I'm excited about that because I enjoy it. I enjoy exactly what we're doing right now. I think I have some unlocked potential that I'd like to pursue. But the key was at my early age was, how do I monetize less? You know, like how do I monetize me? You know, I can't grow a business and worry about how I'm going to, you know, monetize less. I got to, you know, big dollars that we have to acquire to keep the business afloat. So, you know, I couldn't put the energy in my more with less. But thank you for the compliment. I do appreciate it.
But that's where it all starts. It all started with less, you know, and stuff. And so I think there's still, by the time you're ready to bring it right back around, the unlocked potential and it's all these stories of this experience of where you started, what it took, and how you come back to tell us all about it. So yeah, you let me know when that happens so I can come on and take a trip.
It's happening.
Hang out in your studio.
It's happening right now, man. You can call me any day. We can jump on a video like this. I would love to talk to you any day of the week. You are VIP, no problem. I'll drop everything.
There you go. All of you out there and Les's team at Valier Studios. There you go. He just said it. He said it.
You got it.
VIP.
You got it. And I gotta come back down to Atlanta and get me a flying biscuit.
Yes, we're gonna get you a box.
I'll ignore what my doctor's telling me about being overweight and just go ahead and get that buttermilk biscuit and gravy. And if you guys have ever been to Atlanta, the South, there's many flying biscuits out there. Stop by and have yourself a buttermilk biscuit.
There you go. They are delicious. Oh my gosh, they are delicious. Well, all right. So go ahead.
Dan, is there anything else you have questions on? Or?
No, that was it. I was gonna end it with one last question, and it's kind of you've already shared a lot. So if there was one thing you could go back to tell Les of 8 years ago, that $150 camera, and give him one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh boy, that is tough
Mm-hmm.
because there's probably more than just one. There's probably a few things I could tell the old Les to
Yeah, right. Less biscuits.
out for. Only because I still, in this, you have to have patience.
Mm.
Patience, they always say patience is a virtue. You have to have patience, and patience can be incredibly difficult because you need the cash, you need a check, you need a thing, you need a customer, you need. But sometimes you need to put the brakes on is what you really need to do.
Mm.
And that is really tough. It's not easy because during that time of patience, you may be struggling a lot. I just went through this. In October, our phone quit ringing. We didn't get any more leads. October 1, it was like my business shut down. It was a strange, difficult period, but there wasn't work. There were no leads. There were no more projects. So all I did for 3.5 months was burn through cash reserves. And I tell you what, that has been the most gut-wrenching process to date. And so Google had updated, this thing had updated, and plus at the end of the year, marketing budgets just die. So they don't spend past a certain time. But the last little push of the year, our website was just non-existent. Google had updated September 22nd, and there was a major overhaul to Google. And so we're very heavily reliant on organic visibility, not paid advertising, but organic search. And so we suffered quite a bit for a while. So even that recently, I'm struggling with patience because you have to have a clear mind. What am I going to do? Should I spend here? How do I allocate those dollars? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Who am I calling? What do I do? I talked to everybody. I had a consultant. And what came out of this struggle, which I'm just now coming kind of out of the clear of this challenge, just from a cash flow perspective. But what came out of this was a revised knowledge and understanding of who we are and why we do it. Because sometimes these challenges, there's a blessing to be discovered out of it, and you're using the struggle or the period of time that you're in to discover things that you might have already known but weren't communicating it. And so we revised the copy on our website during the time, the above the fold section. We make the number one reason why people hire us is because we're easy to work with, and that we simplify even the most complex video projects. So those two sentences took a lot of struggle time to convey in the right way. And so we learned a lot more about our business during this period of struggle. But to have patience was the key. And if you interviewed Max or Ellen, they would tell you that I was not myself, So I had to keep telling them, be patient. The phone is going to ring every Monday. I started saying, this is going to be a different week. There's something that's going to happen. And I tell you what, when it didn't happen, that was a defeated feeling at the end of the week. Nothing happened. Nothing came in. No check. Very difficult. So if I could learn anything, it would be if I could inspire anyone to have patience, because it's often not you, your message, your clients, or your reputation. There are sometimes things in this universe that we cannot control, and you have to be patient and wait for that, whatever that is, because if you act irrationally, you may adjust or change something that didn't need to change at all. That is my best bit of advice to those watching, is to, no matter what you're working on, stand behind your product, have good values and good ethics, treat your people with respect, but be patient. Whatever struggle you're dealing with, It will work out. Just hang on, and things will work themselves out.
Whew, there you go. Be patient.
Yeah, so I shared a lot there. I hope
That's it. That's good. I like it.
something there. And I love that you prepared me and said, I'm not going to share the questions with you, Les, because I
Right.
love speaking off the cuff like that and just sharing from my heart. So thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate you so much as an artist, as a friend, as an entrepreneur. I respect and appreciate you greatly.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you for your time today. Everything that you said was some knowledge bombs that we're going to have to review and take to heart. Thank you so much, Les. Much love and success to you and your team. You guys are awesome. And we will talk soon.
Thanks, Dan. Bye now.
The Artist King podcast is made possible by the support of our sponsors, Azalea Creative Group, Sketchable Plus, and Visual Artworks. Once again, I am DTM, and I look forward to sharing the business of art with you. Until next time, stay creative.